Good evening and welcome to Fate City Hall. We'll begin our 6 o'clock regular City Council meeting on this Monday, April 13th. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum present?
Yes, sir, we sure do, with everyone present.
Okay, can I have the first agenda item, please?
Item number 2, invocation given by Daniel Ledford with Calvary Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the American and Texas flags.
Can we pray together? Father, we thank you that we can come together as a community, asking for your guidance in this meeting. I pray that you would be honored in all that we do and all that's said and done. And Lord, I pray that you'd help us as a community to unite together and do what's best for everyone involved. All these things we ask and we thank you for. In the name of Jesus, our Savior, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. God bless Texas.
Ms. Vicki, next agenda item, please.
Next is 3A, presentation of the Government Treasurers Organization of Texas, also known as GTOT, Investment Policy Certificate of Distinction.
Okay, yes, and just so everyone's aware, the GTOT Investment Policy Certification is a prestigious recognition awarded by the Government Treasurers Organization of Texas to Texas public entities such as ours, whose investment policies strictly comply with the Texas Public Funds Investment Act and meet high standards for prudent public investing, focusing on safety, liquidity, and yield. The Investment Policy Review Committee reviews 34 different criteria for the Policy Certification Award. Well done.
All right. Would you all like to do a photo, or we can skip it? Sure. Photo. All right. So I will have Denise Armstrong, our new finance director, come up and get an award her first day. Of course, Reg, you put it in for us. Denise comes to us from the Tampa area and working with Hillsborough County.
So we'll have you stand right in the middle, please. Yes.
We expect great things if we are receiving awards.
I did none of this. All right. 1, 2, 3. Good, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, next agenda item, please, Ms. Vicki.
Next is 3B, public communications update.
All right, Shelby's going to help us with this one tonight.
We'll be brief this evening. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Shelby Stouffer, Public Engagement Coordinator. I am here to give you, the second quarter of 2020, fiscal year 2026. So just kind of, this update's going to be from kind of the first of the year to today, up to this point. So a couple notable things is we hired kind of a winter intern to support the communications and community engagement office. Interviews are currently underway to supplement that intern who left us last week to return back to school. So we anticipate hiring somebody over the summer months to kind of help us through the summer and potentially help us through the fall and kind of our busier season with public engagement and stuff like that. Our Citizens Academy launched a couple weeks ago. We have had 2 sessions. So the first session, most of you all were here, and then last week we did kind of a public safety introduction. Some things that we have notably focused on this quarter has been an increase in strategic posts. So really thinking through what's kind of coming up, what's on the horizon for us with elections, board and commission opportunities, community opportunities, and our events. And then we refined and enhanced our posting schedule. Our website has been strong, just a couple of notable things on there. This quarter is we are separating out the DPS pages, so where we used to have one Department of Public Safety, we are now focusing on separate police and fire pages, and kind of listing out their operational roles and community partnership opportunities. One thing to note as well, kind of this season, is we've had a lot of hiring opportunities, so our human resources page has really like jumped to the top of one of our top searched pages. Other than that, our usage, views, total users to our website are really in line with what we've seen trending the last few years. Social media has been very steady. We have had a couple of great posts that our intern did. One of them is the Where Does Your Water Come From video. He worked with the North Texas Municipal Water District and our Assistant City Manager, Stephen Downs, on that post to get a lot of really great information for our residents. But it was a great opportunity for kind of that intern to connect with some of our larger partners like the Water District. So just wanted to feature that. Additionally, one of our top performing posts from this quarter was the Kroger groundbreaking ceremony that happened a couple weeks ago. So we're very excited to welcome new businesses to the Lafayette Crossing. And our intention, kind of with some of that strategic alignment and scheduling and post, is as new businesses are announced and coming online there, we want to make sure that we're sharing that information, as well as businesses across our community. Social media, a couple of things here. This quarter, I worked with Interim Chiefs Taylor and Reagan to develop a monthly activity snapshot that we're leveraging on social media. So just kind of calls for the month, things like that, different posts and things, different responses that they've had. We just kind of built it into a graphic that we can leverage on social media. Again, informs our community what we're doing, transparency, and it kind of showcases what, as our community grows, what those volumes look like. Last week was Property and Evidence Tech Week, so we highlighted our property and evidence technician, Sarah. She also celebrated her 2-year anniversary with us recently, so just some features like that. We'll talk about it a little bit more in a bit, but one thing to note for DPS is we have traditionally had a one page for Facebook and Instagram for them. We are working with Fire to launch a new Fate Fire Department page and then separate out the police page. So again, just in line with everything that you all have approved, is we want to be strategic in separating out the DPS to individual operating groups. We just want to be mindful of that and make sure that we have the resources, the content, and the staff to support all of those additional pages. So it's forthcoming, it's just not there yet. Downtown Fate continues to grow on their page. The economic development team handles this page and the events. We recently had the Easter, Hopping into Easter downtown, and that was so successful. All of their downtown events are super successful, and they leverage this page to kind of highlight that and showcase those events. More of the Hey Fate video series, we continue to launch these. Again, Where Does the Water Come From is one of them. We have a couple more in the pipeline that should be rolling out within the next couple of weeks and into months. Citizens Academy, like I mentioned, it launched 2 weeks ago, and that featured, the first session was kind of get to know your local government. So we had a feature of the council, the city manager, and the city secretary's office, and that was hosted here. Last week, we did public safety and kind of get to know your police and fire department. So the attendees of that, there are 13 attendees. So we had a capacity of 12, and we actually ended up taking one extra because they were very enthusiastic to attend it. We meet every other Thursday for about 2 hours or so and go just a little bit more in depth with city operations, different departments and things like that. So for the public safety, we met at the community center. Both interim chiefs gave a presentation. We did a tour of the facility and apparatus, and then went back and had a mini hands-on training for our CRACE program. On the horizon, some upcoming events. So on April 25th, mark your calendars, we have our police and fire open house. We have our community cleanup, which will be hosted at the Fate Community Center this year, not at Robert Smith Park. And then this year, we always do a blood drive, but we're actually integrating kind of with the open house and everything, a Battle of the Badges blood drive. So when you donate, be sure to let them know if it's for police or fire. Following the next week is going to be our bulk trash drop-off, and that's located in downtown Fate off of Barnes, kind of behind Fate Station Park. All of these events have more information on them, so if you visit our Facebook pages and click on the individual events, the details for what's acceptable, ways to sign up to volunteer for the cleanup, and more information about the open house is all located there. Additionally, the Go Texan Day is in May, and that is on our downtown Fate page. So all of these events can be found through our social media and our Facebook pages. So I suggest you take a look at those, learn more, and then if you don't mind sharing them out to your followers, we always appreciate the extra engagement. We talked about intern briefly. So this was Beeler. He was our intern this past winter. Again, as I mentioned, he works with the water district to kind of put some unique videos together kind of about our water and stuff. And then one of his biggest projects was our popular financial annual review that will be launching soon. And that's just really a public consumable document about the budget. So where you guys spend weeks and weeks and weeks and months in our budget kind of understanding it, this is a little bit more of kind of a snapshot of that that's digestible to the public. So he worked with Omar, the finance team, myself, to put that together. And so we're excited to be launching that in a couple weeks. With that, do you have any questions?
Questions from council? Ms. Chen?
Yeah. Do we have a projected date on the launch of the 2 Facebook pages for police and fire?
So for the police, we're going to maintain the DPS page. We're just going to rebrand it.
Gotcha.
For fire, I don't have an exact date, but I would say we're working towards it and should be there within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yes.
I just want to say nice job. I do notice a whole lot more posts and a lot more interaction than we used to have, so great job on getting the pertinent information. I think the validity of the information that we put out has been much better and more engaging for people, but great job, you guys.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Ms. Huffman?
I think that all looks great, and I'm looking forward to your financial review document. It might be helpful even to me to help understand some of the budget things, but you are doing a great job getting the good things that are happening in Fate, getting all that information out there.
Thank you.
Well done indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
All right, Ms. Vicky, next item, please.
Next is agenda item number 4, public comment, and I've received 3 requests to address the council. First being from Randy Long, address 2263 Bryant Lane.
Welcome, Mr. Long.
Randy Long, 2263 Bryant Lane. I walked away from last Monday's meeting with a very heavy heart. I have never been that intimately aware of a true lynch mob mentality. The anger, hostility, and pure hatred literally permeated the air. I have been in some heated negotiations with the Teamsters and steelworkers and experienced threats to both me and my family, and that's about as close as I can come to the feeling in that room. I am not sure how you work yourself into such hatred for a person. I simply ask everyone who has attacked this man now and in the past, have you ever sat down with him one-on-one and questioned him about his style, motivations, intent, and heart? Is this not what you would want if you were vilified, ridiculed, and mocked? I guess I must share in some of the blame. I believe I have been labeled a troublemaker, among other things. 6 years ago, I began trying to get a couple of simple things addressed in my neighborhood, all of which are still issues to this day. I started at the bottom of the food chain and worked my way up, hoping to get some help and advocacy. I will stop and admit my standards and expectations are high, both for myself and for others. Along the way, I communicated with the city manager, had face-to-face meetings with the mayor and council. I even had a ride-along with a council member to enlighten me, convince me, and change my mind about some things. I became so frustrated, disillusioned, and disheartened that I decided to do something that I absolutely did not want to do. I got involved with trying to elect some folks who I thought would represent and advocate for me in my neighborhood. Councilman Hatley was one of those who listened to me, engaged with me, and seemed to care. I knew then, as I know now, there are things about him I would change, just as I know there are things about me he would change. That's called human nature. Also, along the way from being involved, I began to see other things in the council that troubled me and that I disagreed with. But I can also say I don't think I ever judged the individual, just their actions. I can't see into anyone's heart as much as I would like to. I would like to encourage you as a council person, former council person, or citizen to sit down with Mr. Hatley and deal with your anger and hatred in a mature, respectful, and constructive manner and discuss your views and perspectives. I believe that is what we're supposed to do in a civilized society. I open that same invitation to myself. Please tell me honestly where I have gone off track and erred, both in my perceptions and actions. I will pull up my big boy pants and take a full helping of humility training. Tell me where my standards and expectations for fate are unreasonable and unjustified. You can change my mind, you can even change my tire, but you will never change my character or values. I received my package, which I opened outside. Of course, it was childish and cowardly, but in the current environment, with the doxing, etc., I filed a complaint with the postal inspectors for harassment utilizing the U.S. mail.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
Next, we have Scott A. Smith, address 408 West Apple Tree Lane.
Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Scott Smith. I do live at 408 West Apple Tree Lane in Fate. I'm back here again tonight to talk about Lafayette Crossing and a really big lie that was told by the developer right here in this room about 2 years ago. As a matter of fact, the lie was told twice in this room, once at a P&Z meeting and once again at a city council meeting. I sat right there when the developer was asked by P&Z members and then city council members if they would ever ask for a tax abatement or tax incentive from the city to build the development of Lafayette Crossing. His answer was no, twice at both of those meetings. Now, we know this was a lie because the developer was back in this room not that long ago asking for tax incentives to begin work on Lafayette Crossing. For some reason that I still don't understand, the city council granted this lying developer tax incentives to help them build Lafayette Crossing. So to anyone who says Lafayette Crossing is a done deal, set in stone, or that ship has sailed, I say to all of you that as far as I'm concerned, the whole deal as originally presented by the developer is null and void due to the lie told by the developer in this room. With that said, moving forward, there should be no further permits issued or modifications made to the original development plan until the developer and the city agree to build a solid wall between the development and the adjacent neighborhood, residential neighborhood as that is. This wall is needed to protect our neighborhood from excessive noise, trash, crime, and traffic. In addition, the developer should not be allowed to connect to any existing neighborhood streets, as this would constitute a serious safety issue for residents due to excessive pass-through traffic in a residential neighborhood with very narrow streets and no sidewalks. In closing, according to the FATE Comprehensive Plan, under the heading of Quality Housing Choices, we find this quote: "The goals in this section are focused on preserving existing neighborhoods." Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Next, we have Steve Huffman, address 6824 West State Highway 66.
Welcome, Mr. Huffman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a little happier message this evening. Steve Huffman, 6824 State Highway 66 in Fate. Action item 6B states, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding holding additional meet and greets with Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee applicants. Should the council decide to postpone the appointment to this committee to another regularly scheduled meeting, we have precedent for that happening. Excuse me. From the Royce City Herald Banner, March 7, 2019, the headline reads, Fate postpones appointment to Planning and Zoning Commission. I kind of highlighted some of the relevant parts of the long article. 5 people had turned in an application to serve on the commission before the Monday night meeting, but former mayor and then council member David Billings said he thought the application process did not give ample time for other residents to apply. He told other council members that he knew at least 2 more people who had wanted to apply to serve on the commission, and said that he would not vote on any of the 5 applicants at the meeting if the council were to make its decision on appointments on Monday. I think we can wait for 2 weeks and appoint on the 18th. That's the fair thing to do, Mr. Billings said. So a different commission, a different reason maybe for delaying this, but if the council agrees to delay, we do have precedent for delaying these appointments, and I hope that if there is a delay, it's for good reasons, to actually find out more about the candidates who would be on this. This is kind of a big commission, and there aren't that many seats, so if you do delay this, do it for good reasons, good intent. But we do have precedent in case anybody throws a fit out in fate saying this is a nefarious bad thing happening. We have precedent. So that's just really quick, something for that. And real quickly, Mr. Mayor, it's a really nice evening. The council is pretty empty, so for those who complain about the winter council meeting from several weeks ago, there's no reason that these seats should be empty. There's no reason. There's city council meeting going on. If people are genuinely concerned about what's happening in the city, these seats should be full. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huffman.
And last speaker is Stephanie Adams, address 566 McKinney Trail.
Welcome, Mrs. Adams.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Fate City Council. I'm here for 2 items. One is item 6A. I understand that y'all are voting on, or having a second reading tonight on the Fate, I think it's called the Fate Downtown Park Project. I'm curious what the long-term vision, goal, and plans are for downtown Fate. What type of consumer is our city trying to attract? Shipping containers near a place like Sauce and Vine or a development like Lafayette Crossing seems disjointed and inconsistent unless it's like Legacy Hall, where multiple eateries are within one larger framework. Curious why the new apartment buildings near Fate Station and Sauce and Vine have no sign, basic design, very few or no trees, limited landscaping, and lots of concrete. The food hall is one of the first areas people see when they enter downtown, and oftentimes the dining hours are limited and the businesses are closed. I know a comprehensive plan exists. Moving forward, I believe there needs to be more consistency on design, quality, and flow in the downtown Fate area. And then my other reason here is to talk about the goings-on of this council. I'm here to express concern regarding a series of recent events that have raised questions about transparency, governance, and public trust in our city leadership. Specifically, the reports and discussions surrounding the secret recordings, the ongoing recall efforts, comments made during the April 6th council meeting, and statements shared on the Rock 30 podcast by Mayor Andrew Greenberg and Councilmember Cody Chin, which all warrant careful consideration. These matters, taken together, create a perception of division and erode confidence in the council's ability to operate with unity, professionalism, and adherence to ethical standards. The mere suggestion of covert recordings, whether lawful or not, undermines trust among council members, staff, and the community. Additionally, public commentary across meetings and external platforms has at times amplified tensions rather than reinforcing the responsibility of elected officials to lead with integrity and respect. A further concern is the reported involvement of sitting council members in initiating or leading recall efforts, actions that are traditionally citizen-led, and the practice of limiting or blocking public comment on campaign or public-facing pages. These actions risk discouraging open dialogue and contribute to a sense that dissenting voices are being restricted rather than heard by this council. While open dialogue is essential in a democratic process, it is equally important that communication, both formal and informal, reflects the seriousness of your roles and the impact your words and actions have on this community. Residents expect decisions and conduct to be grounded in facts, transparency, and the long-term best interests of the City of Fate and its citizens. I am deeply concerned by the actions of many members of this council and comments made by the mayor in his recent Rock 30 podcast when he mentioned he was advised to secretly record conversations. I respectfully encourage the council to prioritize restoring trust through clear communication, adherence to legal and ethical standards, and a renewed commitment to collaborative governance. The community is best served when its leaders demonstrate unity of purpose, even amidst disagreement. I have yet to see this from several of you. Thank you for your attention to these concerns and for your continued service to the City of Fayette.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
And there's nobody else that's signed up to speak.
All right, what's our next agenda item, please?
Item number 5, consent agenda.
Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, we pass the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. All right, the consent agenda passes 7-0. Thank you. All right, Ms. Vicky, next agenda item, please.
Next is going to be agenda item 6A, which is discuss, consider, and take any necessary action on the second reading of resolution number R 2026-025, approving the Fayette Downtown Park and Promenade project, approving the use of Fayette Municipal Development District Number 1 funding to pay for the principal and interest and other costs for the certificates of obligation issued by the city for the project, and approving an agreement with the district for the use of funding to pay the principal and interest and other costs for certificates of obligation issued by the city for the project, and providing an effective date.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor. Stephen is on a trip, so I'll take over for him today. Isaiah is pulling up the presentation if we want to look at it. This is second reading, so going through the certificate of obligation process, the state law requires 2 readings, so this is the second reading. It's essentially identical as the last presentation you heard last week, and so we are ready to move forward. If you pass this resolution, it puts in motion the sale of the sales tax bond for the project up to $6 million. We do have park fees that are coming in to assist as well, so that we are ready to go. If you'd like to run through the presentation or some of the pictures, we have those teed up. Right, back up to you all. Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so here's some pictures of the proposed park. Here's a bird's eye sort of view off to the side from the top. I think this is from the top of the Sauce and Vine looking to the northeast, or northwest, I'm sorry. And here's another vantage point. And some ghost people. Of course, the trees won't be that big right off the bat. They'll grow to that's over time. And you can see how they're integrated. If you go back here, you see that existing park. That's that child's the railroad theme park that we built a little while ago with some grant funds assistance. Oh. Lots of that's a turf field essentially, so should be all weather. And here's another overall picture of how that looks. We had talked about maybe some active recreation over here where the golf cart parking is up to the northeast, but nothing, I don't think there's anything in the final scope yet for that. So we could always do an add-on at some point if we wanted to do like a little soccer thing or something else for the kids. And of course, we're adding parking to downtown. I think 30 or 40 spots, something like that. So the existing parking where you've got Sauce and Vine, that will extend farther north and support the park and also all the downtown businesses.
Michael, real quick. I did see a couple comments online when this was announced about the parking, or about the land that's up there by the railroad tracks. And I just want to make the public aware that that's not our property, that we can't extend parking up into that area because we do not own that property. It's owned by the railroad. So we had talked about something like that before, but it didn't come to fruition, right?
We can add some parking up to the limit. So there's a high line. You can see the high powered line. So that's Encore. That's an Encore easement. We can work with Encore to put different things in that power line easement, and so that's possible. There's also, but then there's 100 feet total right away with the railroad. So 50 feet this side of the tracks generally.
Right. So I guess my point is we don't own all of that property, so it's not the whole section.
Correct. Like if you wanted just to take all the green space and just cover it with parking, we could try to utilize more under the power line, working with Encore, but we can't get into the railroad right away. I mean, we could lease it. We've tried that, hence the last project over by Mona Lisa Pizza, trying to lease some of that property. And we were talking with the railroad, and all of a sudden the railroad went silent. They were working on that big merger, and once they started that, they went dark on us. We even hired a firm to work with them, who has been historically very well with the ones we work with on the Wood Creek Boulevard to get that four-way, the four-lane extension, essentially the crossing across the tracks, and that was successful. And then, of course, Riding Club, getting that crossing changed out, but no luck. So-
Okay, so in the future, we may be able to work something, but right now, it's not part of the plan.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
thanks.
Yeah. We can encroach farther into the power line potentially, if Encore allows it, but the railroad is a whole nother level.
And I had a quick question. Is there fencing between the park and the railroad or along the railroad at all?
There's an existing wrought iron fence,
Okay.
so that can, as needed, we can extend that or continue that. The railroad does like that barrier.
Also, is the stage area raised? I couldn't tell in the picture. Sort of covered entertainment stage-ish area.
Oh, remember, someone who's, is anyone more familiar with Emily? Emily will know potentially the latest design talks with the architects, park
Good evening,
architects.
Mayor and Council. Yes, so the stage is raised just slightly in the current iteration of the design, and we're about 80, I would say 70 to 80% completion on the design right now. So there may be a few minor tweaks, but yes, these are, and it's really good to get everyone's feedback right now as we kind of get into the final phases. So yes, stage is raised maybe about this much, and we have room to do risers if there's a kind of performance that's going to require, we want it raised up, or if it needs to be extended out for any larger performances. So that capability will be there as well. I don't know, any other questions? Maybe I should stay up here, just in case.
It's, and we've had a lot of interest in doing more concerts downtown, but as you know from the existing downtown, go down there on the weekend, and it's already just hopping. There's no parking,
Right,
essentially.
and with the back parking lot, I believe there are 50 spaces that are
That's good.
projected to be there. And we are doing actually right now an entire parking analysis for the downtown. So that's preliminary as we think about the downtown redevelopment, how we make sure that there is enough parking for all our events that we'd like to have, for all the businesses. That's something that we're all being very thoughtful about. We have multiple teams from various city departments all working on that. So we are very cognizant that that's important to the city and to the success of the area. And so we're really working to make sure that's included. So just to add that in.
Mr. Hatley?
I was going to ask, what about handicap parking? Or how many handicap spots are they expecting?
I'm not sure about the exact number, but there is a required number of spaces when you have a lot like that. So we'll be making sure to comply with all those requirements and that there will be enough handicap spaces.
What about accessibility to get in there? I mean, it can be difficult because, those spots are usually a lot closer. But is there going to be an easy access for people who don't walk terribly well?
I would say definitely so, yeah. I mean, and you can see from the images, there's large walkways too, so those will all be accessible for handicap, for, wheelchairs, for strollers, for any of those kinds of uses. So that's definitely something that we've thought about and that will be incorporated.
Are we doing the minimum ADA compliance, or are we kind of going up and above beyond that?
That's a good question, and I'm not sure yet. Like I said, the design's just about 70% or so, so there may be some room to kind of address those in the next iteration of the plans. So we're just kind of at a larger level on the plan right now, like higher level.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have a number for how many shipping containers and businesses will be, like spots that'll be available for the incoming businesses?
Yeah, great question. So that's something that we're actually just now like really trying to dial in, is how many businesses and thinking about the programming of those. So I would say the next time that we come to you all, we'll have more specifics on the exact number. But right now, I would say it looks about like it is. We have space for a few restaurant type of uses and then some space for some kind of retail uses as well. So
For sure, we have two
We
food
have
hall
two
users
for
coming
sure.
over for sure.
Right,
So
two for sure.
Smoketown and Mamaritas.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And perhaps this will be in a further design element, putting more of it on the screen. But are we going to have something there when I think, Fate Station and knowing we've got the shipping containers, is there going to be the train theme that kind of ties the whole thing together? Is that just, we're not seeing it now, but it is coming, it's just down the road?
Yes, that's a wonderful question, and that's something I'm really excited about personally, is
Okay.
really starting to dial in on the branding and the design. We'll have public art, there'll be some different kind of high-end finishes and signage, and so those are not reflected yet,
Okay.
but that'll be something that we're really excited to share. So yes, definitely that'll be in there.
All right, good deal. Any other questions? Okay. Michael, do you have anything else with this?
Nope, we're ready to proceed, if you are all ready.
Okay, any other questions or comments before we proceed?
So Mayor, we will need a vote, though, on this item.
Oh, are you? Okay. You're not reading any of this on this page? I didn't know.
Oh, I can't
You're done too?
I can if you wish.
No.
Sure, yeah, we're finalizing, as we heard, we're up around 70 to 80% design, and this is going to, essentially, this measure finalizes the agreement with the MDD and also allows for the bond sale. So this is a sales tax bond, there's no cost directly to property owners, so this is paid for out of MDD revenues. We'll have 1 year of overlap with the land bond. The land bond falls off, and our debt level is going to be very sustainable, under 25% of our total revenues for MDD. So we'll still have plenty to run operations, so that MDD subsidizes all the operations of the city's economic development functions, and then they should have a significant amount of project cash, probably upwards of about $1 million a year in cash to do other things.
Okay. Okay, so do I have a motion? Or did you have yours on? 'Cause you
No,
have
I
a
was
question.
going
Oh, okay.
to make a motion.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion, we approve Resolution R 2026-025.
A second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Since there's none, please vote. The motion passes 7-0. All right, thank you. Ms. Vicky, next agenda item, please.
Next is 6B, which is discuss, consider, and take any necessary action regarding holding additional meet and greets with Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee, CPAC for short, applicants.
Okay, Mr. Hatley, you want to lead this one off?
Yeah, since I added this and Martha seconded it, with 21 applicants, I just didn't think over the course of maybe 45 minutes, we would get adequate time to interview that many candidates and give them all fair time and consideration and questions. So I think we should hold an additional meet and greet and give everybody a chance to do this. I mean, I interview people all the time. I don't think I've ever adequately interviewed 21 people over the course of an entire day, as opposed to something. I mean, this is a board that meets every 5 years. So this is a very, very critical board that I think everybody deserves our full attention and to learn as much about them and their ideas as possible.
Okay. Ms. Huffman?
And I seconded it because I really wanted an opportunity to meet with people, and I tried really hard today, and I couldn't even interact with all the people who were in the room. So if you feel similarly, then you can vote to have an additional meeting.
Yeah, I too missed out on getting to interact with some. Mr. Manival?
I was marking off the people that were here that I got to talk to, and there were probably, it looks like maybe 7, 8 that weren't here. So I don't know if they would come to a second meeting. And there were a couple that for some reason, arrived late. We didn't get to talk to them. So I think there would be value in having a second night to talk to people.
Okay, so anybody else? Do I have a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion that we have another meet and greet next council meeting.
I second.
Okay, and by next council meeting, are we talking about the May 4th council meeting?
May 4th.
Okay. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? This would be to hold a second meet and greet on May 4th. All right, seeing no more discussion, please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Which largely renders action item 6C irrelevant for tonight. Is that correct, Ms. Vicky?
If you guys would like to discuss the other, not the at-large positions, but the other composition that was included in the staff summary, you could certainly do that, or if you wanted to push that discussion for later, you could do that. That's completely up to you guys. It's posted.
Okay.
Either way.
Thoughts from council? Ms. Chen?
Yeah. So I actually wrote out a statement because I did also have an issue with the agenda item 6C, not with the good people that came out and applied. Thank you all so much for applying. But I did have a statement that I wanted to read. And in advance, I had sent Michael an email about my concerns, but I just want to make a statement for the record. I want to speak on agenda item 6C because I have a serious concern, not just about the process, but about the adherence to our city charter. The issue before us is simple. The council had zero input in appointing the additional committee members serving on CPAC. That is not just unusual, it is a direct violation of our city charter. Our charter clearly grants the authority to create and appoint members to boards and committees to the full council, not the mayor alone, and not the city manager. That authority belongs to this entire body. And for those at home or in the audience, it's Section 7.01, Authority Composition and Procedures. That's the part that I'm referencing in the charter specifically. At the November 17, 2025 meeting, staff presented information about the steering committee and even offered suggestions, but at no point was there any discussion indicating that appointment decisions would be made solely by the mayor and the city manager. There was no vote, no exact direction, and no public acknowledgement of such a shift in authority. What was stated in that meeting was that there had been private discussions regarding the makeup of the steering committee, but those private conversations were never disclosed in a way that suggested council authority would be bypassed. That matters. It matters because decisions like this must happen in open, with council input, and in full compliance with the charter. I also reviewed prior comprehensive plan committee discussions from 2020, and I spoke to former council members who served during that time. They confirmed that this current approach is not only a departure from past practice, but also inconsistent with the charter itself. So this is not just about tradition, it's about legality and governance. And now we are faced with an agenda item where those decisions have already been made without council consent. That puts this body in a difficult position. So my question is straightforward. How do we correct this? How do we ensure that the authority of this council is restored and that the appointments to CPAC are made in the way our charter requires? Because according to the charter and the materials previously presented, this council should be responsible for appointing the 4 additional members as well as the 2 at-large positions. There's one more concern that I want to raise. During the same November 17th meeting, it was clearly stated by Councilmember Hatley and seemingly agreed upon by the rest of the council that individuals already serving on boards should not be recognized as quote-unquote regular citizens or at-large members of this committee. If that was the agreed upon standard, then why were applicants currently serving on boards not immediately notified that they were ineligible? Consistency and transparency matter. If we set a criteria, we should follow it, and we should communicate it clearly to our residents. At the end of the day, this is more than just about one committee. It's about process, transparency, and respect for the governing documents that guides this city. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this item? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Vicky. Next item. Ms. Vicky, next item, please.
Next, we will move to agenda item number 7, which is mayor, council, and city manager reports.
All right, Ms. Chen.
I just wanted to tell everybody, thank you for coming out today and applying. It was nice getting to hear all y'all's feedback, especially regarding the things that you do like about the comp plan and going forward, what you would change. So thank you all.
Mr. Harper?
Yep, I just want to echo the same. Thank those who came out today and applied. Obviously, the process isn't over yet. We haven't made the decision, so continue to study up on the comprehensive plan in case you are selected. It will be great, and as she said, thanks for telling us what you didn't like as well as what you did like, and that's very helpful. It was not only helpful for me, but I know it was helpful for Ryan to hear some of those comments as well.
Mr. Kelly?
I too would like to thank everybody that came out and spent the time with us tonight. It was early, and I know a little bit of an inconvenience to come up, but we appreciate the effort and look forward to talking again in a few weeks.
Mr. Mandeville?
I guess I was impressed with all of the candidates. I was happy to get to spend a few minutes talking to more people and find out how committed they are to wanting to do something for the city. And I know this isn't on the agenda, but I guess as someone who grew up in the 60s and 70s, I wanted to say how happy I was to see the Artemis II mission last week. That was one of the most exciting things I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
Fate had nothing, well, maybe fate. The city of Fate had nothing to do with it, but it was happy news.
Mr. Hatley?
I also wanted to thank all of the applicants very much for applying and showing up. And hopefully I get to meet more of you next time and get to sit down and get to know you a little bit and your ideas and your backgrounds and things like that. So I look forward to that. So thank you all very much.
Ms. Huffman?
Once again, thank you all for coming out, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience of a second meeting, but I think it's a great opportunity to really get a chance to meet everybody who's applying, so thank you for that. And I'll also pay attention to the bulk cleanup day. It's a wonderful opportunity to get rid of things that you need to in a kind of an earth-friendly way, which will segue into my Earth Day is next Wednesday, and I love Earth Day because it's a focus on being kind to the earth, and this year I'm focused on the pollinators. So do what you can to limit your use of pesticides. So that's my update.
Thank you, Ms. Huffman. Yes, it was very exciting to get to sit, albeit briefly, with so many of you. If I did not get a chance to sit with you, or I think any of these fine council members up here, it was only a time issue, which is why I think it was unanimous that we opened up another opportunity for this. So I'm looking forward to continue doing that, but thank you for coming out for night one of our selection process. Mr. Kovacs.
Yes, sir, just a few things. The County Road Consortium will meet this Wednesday coming up at 5:30 at the the historic county courthouse. Also, once again, welcome to Denise on our new finance director. And just a reminder, we have a special meeting with the Roy City Independent School District Board on the 27th at 5:30. Note the time, 5:30, not 6. And that is at the Roy City Independent School District's Event Center, which is right next to the high school. That's all for tonight.
Perfect, thank you. All right, Ms. Vicki, next agenda item, please.
Agenda item 8, executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.001, the City Council will recess into executive session closed meeting to discuss the following. A, in accordance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, and under Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, and in accordance with Texas Government Code regarding 1, discussion of March 25th, 2026 ethics complaint filed by Scott Kelly against Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Mark Hatley and investigative report regarding the same, and B, in accordance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, 1, city manager, 2, city secretary.
Okay, thank you very much. Next agenda item, please, Ms. Vicky.
So we will consider any action for executive session item 8A1.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that the council find that there's credible evidence that Councilmember Mark Hatley violated the Code of Ethics, Section 2-30910, and Section 3.093 of the city charter, and that the council proceed with assessing a sanction pursuant to subsections 2-313, subsections 3 through 6 of the Code of Ethics.
Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a second. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
At what point do I request my hearing?
My understanding is that you have requested it, but if you want to put that on the record. Oh, yeah, I guess that's technically true. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Yeah. You would request it after this vote. Okay, any other discussion? Any other questions? This is for the first of the allegations. All right, please vote. Motion passes 5-2 with Mayor Greenberg and Councilman Manival voting in the negative. Mr. Hatley, would you like are you requesting a public hearing for this item? Okay.
Oh, I am, yes.
All right, and I have a secondary motion?
Yes, I move that to fully investigate the alleged violation of Code of Ethics, Section 2-309, subsection 6, Councilmember Hatley be required to provide the city's Ethics Council within 7 days an affidavit that includes sworn answers to the following questions. Did you provide copies of or access to your recorded conversations with Michael Kovacs to anyone who was not a city officer, including Michael Pipkins? If so, to whom were those recordings provided? If so, when were those recordings provided? If so, were the recordings released in their entirety? And that Mr. Hatley be required to provide any information requested by the City Ethics Council.
Okay, do I have a second? A second. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I would like to point out I feel very troubled by this particular motion, as this is a political process. And what I mean by that is it's not a legal process, it is part of a political process. The problem that I have is that this puts a majority of the council at any time. It gives the majority of a council an opportunity to put one of their fellow members under investigation, even against the official recommendation of council that would have been brought forth. They could ignore that council's recommendation, put one of their fellow members under investigation and look at this kind of thing, and then conceivably ask for anything at any time, require things be sworn. I don't think this is a good precedent that we are setting, but if Mr. Hatley is to have a hearing, he'll have an opportunity to explain whatever his rationale may have been. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to respond to that real quick.
Please.
I understand the concerns as it relates to this, especially requesting further information on this particular item. To note it as political, I would probably beg to disagree, just from the standpoint that, no, I've got the microphone right now, Mr. Mayor. If you want to stop me, I'll be glad to stop and let you speak. Otherwise, will you allow me to finish my point?
Well, so I do have the option to stop you?
Absolutely.
Okay, I would like to stop you. When I was saying political, I just want to make sure you understand. I was not saying that this is like the political motivation. I'm saying much like impeachment is a political process. It's not a legal process. Nobody has been accused of a crime. This isn't a criminal or civil thing. When I say political process, that's what I was referring to. I just want to make sure your response fully understands that.
Okay, because political can be taken in a lot of contexts, especially
if I wasn't clear, that's on me. I just want to make sure that it's not when we ask for a sworn affidavit or
understand.
I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware.
So all these are outlined in our charter, in our code of ordinances. Our ethics code is an ordinance that we're expected to follow. our ethics council recommended an investigation into these two items. After his review, an independent review, completely separate from this body, completely separate from any influence of any previous action of this body. He looked at the merits of the complaint and decided it was worth looking into. Our ethics council easily could have said, based on what we know today, there is enough evidence to make a motion like what we just did with the first accusation. But out of an abundance of respect to Councilman Hatley, he is suggesting and allowing the councilman to have more time to respond to these items. He could have made a decision based off the information at hand, which was nothing because of the abbreviated time frame outlined in our ordinance that the investigation had to be done. But there was time to respond there. There wasn't a response given. There's been time to respond through this whole process. There has not been a response given. We're giving more opportunity for a response, which I respect, and I'm making the motion to allow that time for response so that if he chooses to respond, he can. If not, if he chooses to have the public hearing, we can have a public hearing.
Understood.
But this is in the spirit of what our code is.
And specifically to this case, everything, I agree with everything you said. What I'm saying in general is that as part of this process, a council, a majority on the council could conceivably, and I would say that to anybody listening, at any point in time that 4 wanted to investigate, the limit does not seem to exist now in terms of what you could require a fellow council member to do. And when the temperature's already dialed up in fate, I just wanted to make sure we were aware. I'm not accusing you of being political here. I do want to state that emphatically and for the record. But I am stating that I do think that this is going to open the door to an unfortunate precedent. Any other comments before we vote?
I wasn't aware that it was a requirement that he provided that. We're asking for it, correct? But it's not required. He doesn't have to actually submit an affidavit or a
Correct.
sworn statement, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, any other, Ms. Vicky, will this be by hand? Okay. My little vote tally hadn't reset. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of proceeding forward with the motion, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, that's 4. Those opposed to the motion, please raise your hand. 3. Motion passes 4-3 with Mayor Greenberg, Councilman Manival, and Councilman Hatley voting in the negative. Thank you.
Mayor, just one more item. I think we need to set the public hearing for a date certain.
Okay. I don't know, Mr. Hatley, do you have a date that you're thinking about in mind?
Well, considering Councilman Harper said that the meeting was going to happen on the date that he had determined, regardless if I was here or not.
Mr. Mayor, that's information that was discussed in executive session.
Do you have a date?
May 4th.
May 4th, you are requesting your hearing?
Yes.
Okay. All right, May 4th, we'll have Councilman Hatley's hearing on this issue.
And I would suggest council take a vote on setting the
okay.
public hearing for May 4th.
Okay, so do I have a motion to set Mr. Hatley's public hearing for May 4th?
I make a motion to set the public hearing for May the 4th.
I'll second.
I had a question.
Oh, okay, I have a motion and a second, now discussion?
May 4th is a regular council meeting. So I just wondered, will that interfere with the conduct of a previously scheduled? No?
No,
It'll just
if
be
there's
part-
something big,
part of the
we
meeting.
can move that.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
That was my question. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded to make this public hearing on May 4th. Any other comments, questions? Mr. Hatley?
No.
All right, those in favor of the motion, please indicate by raising your hand. All right, motion passes 7-0. Public hearing has been set. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ritchie.
Oh,
No, I was just saying thank you for making us aware to set that date.
oh, thank you.
Okay. All right, Ms. Vicky, next item, please.
Okay, so the city council will now recess back into executive session closed meeting under Section 551.074 to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, 1, city manager, and 2, city secretary.
All right, thank you. Oh, yes, please, thank you. Okay, we will convene back in regular session at 8:54 PM. Madam Secretary, what's our next item on the agenda, please?
Okay, so no action will be taken on executive session item 8B1 and 2, and so we'll move to item number 10, adjournment.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. We are adjourned. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you.